Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and Ironman here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and Mscribe. And today, we're hitting a reset on the Doom loop because there's a lot of things happening. It's not looking good. We got a full scale attack on crypto.
Yeah.
And there's this guy on Twitter. I forget what his name is, but he's like running around outside, like filming himself. I was like, don't touch crypto. And he's just sounding the alarm, and I think everybody's collectively doing that.
Panicking, right?
Yeah.
Headless chickens.
Yeah, basically, if you're doing on-chain transactions on Ethereum.
On Ethereum or all chains?
I think it's on Ethereum, really.
Okay.
EVM.
All right.
That means don't make any transactions.
Damn.
Because what's happening is there's like a little bit of a middleman attack where you go to make a transaction, and instead of that address you copy and paste onto your wallet, it gets flipped to the hacker's address.
So one way to mitigate this is just, so, before you hit that sign button, just make sure, or does it happen after the fact?
Well, I don't know exactly, does it get displayed to you as the hacker's address, or is it displayed properly, but on the back end
it's routed differently?
Yeah, it's routed differently.
Yeah, so the safest bet to do is to do nothing. But of course, for all of us degens, it's almost an impossible act, dude. We're like itching to do something, right?
Yeah, you got to degen every day.
And for other reasons, non-technical, non-hacker imposed limitations, it's harder to find things to do these days, which is contributing to the doom lore.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just systemic breaches here, so which we're going to kind of, I guess, describe a little bit more deeply. You got the CTO of Ledger wallet telling everyone, like, sky is falling, so there's a lot of fear and pandemonium. Luckily, the prices aren't really reflecting that so much, probably because nobody can really do anything.
Yeah, don't sell.
Everyone's scared to, like, move their assets around.
Right.
But, so yeah, like, should we be concerned, first of all?
Well, let's take a look from the CTO of Ledger here. It says the supply chain attack is in progress. The NPM account of a reputable developer has been compromised. The affected packages have already been downloaded over 1 billion times, meaning the entire JavaScript ecosystem may be at risk. The malicious payload works by silently swapping crypto addresses on the fly to steal funds. So you think you're sending it to a specific address, and really the hacker is receiving it. So just wait it out. And basically, if you're a Web3 developer and you've recently updated your app, like within the last 24 hours, that updated app is potentially compromised. So you need to look at your NPM packages and verify that it hasn't been modified within the last 24 hours, because if it has, it's likely been exploited.
Yikes, dude.
Yeah, so a massive supply chain attack just hit JavaScript ecosystem. 18 core NPM packages were hacked. These libraries have over 2 billion weekly downloads. That's crazy to me.
Why? Just the
sheer absolute value of this.
And it's like this.
It's weekly.
Yeah. So what is it? Well, hold on, though. Like, are there any, like, broader implications to this? Just how do you patch this up and, like, make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, the developer should probably be using multiple laptops here. Okay. It's like your everyday communication laptop, Twitter, emails, Zoom calls, laptop, and then you have your developer laptop where it's only development stuff. Okay,
so then it's just per the individual app developer level. Hopefully they're executing on proper, like,
this is NPM. This is NPM package developer level.
Yeah, I know, but you're seeing all the different apps like OpenSea coming out saying, hey, nobody needs to be concerned.
Yeah.
We're not using those libraries, stuff like that.
If your app project has tweeted that there's no concern, then they're probably correct because they looked into it.
Okay. Well, then that's probably what you should do if you have, I guess, funds lurking around.
Yeah.
In these different hot locations, right?
Yeah.
Definitely check in with these application providers and see if they're, giving out some statements of clarity around the situation.
Yeah, and then along this, I've been sharing with our own team a bunch of compromises that have occurred where wallets have been drained, and they're through like Zoom calls and like through Google Meets,
Mm-hmm.
where somehow the hacker installs some malware on your computer during the call, and so yeah, you got to be careful. Always know who you're talking to and verify again. All right, so let's continue here. Ran a scan over the attacker's wallets, and the impact area so far is extremely small. So basically, only a single address was actually phished on base. We live another day. So far, the overall attack has been pretty small. And in the first tweet, there's a Substack. And in that article, they linked an address, a hacker's address. And there was not a whole lot of activity on it as far as I could tell. So not really sure how big this attack is, but it's definitely got crypto Twitter on its toes.
Yeah, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah, so if you didn't think that was bad, Christie announces they're shutting down its digital art department, according to sources close to the situation. And so...
End of an era, dude.
Yeah. So this was... Christie's is an auction house. It's a pretty big one. They sell all kinds of, like, rare items.
Yeah, there was a lot of that happening last cycle, right?
Yeah.
During NFT's peak days, you had like rare beeples up there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure even like digital land made its way. Did it? Do you remember? I don't know, some like parcels of Decentraland.
It wouldn't surprise me if that happened.
Yeah, things got pretty crazy back in those days. And of course, you probably had some notable crypto punks and Bored Apes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are they called? The fidenzas? Those generative art.
Oh, yeah.
Squiggles and such.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not happening anymore, apparently. So,
yeah. And if you look at the global monetary value, right, art is a big block in that whole subset of value. It's about 114 trillion.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at it, I was like, well, it seems like if people can value art, like physical art, then at one point they could value digital art to the same extent. Eventually, right?
Collectively, like as a whole market cap.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a couple of dead generations from now, most likely. I don't think that's as much of a stretch. If people like to pull that comparison of, here's precious metals.
Yeah, that's true.
Collectively 25 trillion.
Yeah, here's DeFi on ETH.
Yeah,
and then here's DeFi on Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like here's store of value in the digital sense. Here's store of value in the physical. At some point they'll achieve parity, right? If
yeah.
I mean, Bitcoin seems to be on its way.
That's the thesis.
Yeah, so art, digital art,
Yeah, but everything's dead though digitally, and so Christie's like acknowledging that.
Yeah, so you got to interpret this a couple of ways, right? Either like, yeah, this is the definitive end. Just digitization only will work for fungibility, I guess, but not non-fungibility, or this is a bottom signal.
Yeah,
clearly that's never going to be the case, right?
Yeah, it's weird that we're talking about bottom signals in what's supposed to be a bull cycle season here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of odd.
Yeah, but this is so we've experienced this before, right? And we have a lot of conversations around this offline. Where are we in the pulse of the market cycle and this industry's growth and such, and there's a lot of parallels to before things really took off last cycle, right? I remember those days where it didn't feel like almost anything could have taken us out of that muck. It's like even though NFTs were around, we experienced like a little bit of a DeFi explosion. Food tokens had ran.
Yeah.
Didn't really have that much retail emphasis around it, but it still proved a lot of things, right? Like there's some new innovation about, right?
Yeah, and that was around 2020, and we were looking at our NFTs, early ERC 721 days, and we were like, when are people going to pay attention to this stuff?
Yeah, you would look at the like data aggregator platforms, the collective volume was like less than 1 million across the board.
Yeah.
Right? The whole entire sector of NFT trades. It was like, man, this is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Right? It feels like similar vibes. Like this whole space is just very much down to the point where we're starting to experience some shutoffs, right?
Yeah.
Some breaker switches here.
Yeah, even that, OKX removes Bitcoin runes from their Web3 marketplace.
There you go.
It's
Another circuit breaker, dude. Another You know, we liked you, Bitcoin ecosystem guys. You were up to some good,
but not anymore.
Not in this neighborhood, right? That's some sort of a remix of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly, but that's what it feels like, dude. People are losing confidence, but again, either this is a signal that everything is on its way down, or this is bottom, right?
So this is when you're supposed to be buying runes, right? Is that what you're telling me?
If you're trying to make like an asynchronous bet,
yeah, I would say so.
But that doesn't mean you like bet the house on something like that, right?
No, definitely not.
Or NFTs.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. I mean, again, if we're saying digital collectible value will at some point reach parity to real world collectible value, I don't think it's a bad idea to buy a CryptoPunk.
Yeah, here's the thing.
If you had the money.
Yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. It's such an asynchronous bet that you don't have to bet a whole lot of money to have like outsized gains here.
Yeah, in the context of you're a art collector, right? If you're an art collector, you're already you're killing it. You're crushing it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, well, how much is it for you to buy a couple Bored Apes, couple CryptoPunks, like, and just sit on them?
50, 60 grand each.
Yeah.
That's couch money, dude.
Yeah, if you're an art collector, if you got Picassos just laying around in your pad and your penthouse and, you know, your New York high rise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just throw a few bands together and you got yourself, you know, that asynchronous opportunity. Why not? Right?
Yeah, I think
it's like buying Bitcoin at $100.
Yeah, it should pay off. I mean, if the thesis plays out, and there's nothing to say that it won't.
Well, yeah, only time can tell, right? And that's that's it.
All right, so yeah, OKX, silence for runes here. But we got Russia chiming in, claiming that the United States is really manipulating crypto here for their own benefit. And
really?
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah, there's I think this tweet sort of breaks it down perfectly. It says, Putin's advisor, the U.S. has devised a crypto scheme to erase the massive debt at the world's expense. The U.S. is now trying to rewrite the rules of the gold and cryptocurrency markets. Remember, the size of their debt is $35 trillion. These two sectors, crypto and gold, are essentially alternatives to the traditional gold global currency system. Washington's action in this area clearly highlights one of its main goals: to urgently address the declining trust in the dollar. As in the 1930s and 1970s, the U.S. plans to solve its financial problems at the world's expense, this time by pushing everyone into the crypto cloud. Over time, once part of the U.S. national debt is placed into stablecoins, Washington will devalue that debt. But simply, they have $35 trillion currency debt. They'll move it into crypto cloud, devalue it, and start from scratch. This is the reality for those who are enthusiastic about crypto. So ultimately, he's saying that instead of printing dollars and inflating, you know, food, gas, and like everyday like CPI stuff,
right?
You inflate the Bitcoin, right? So you inflate Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up. As long as the United States has some Bitcoin in their reserves, that goes to offset the debt in their balance sheet.
Is that what they're saying? I don't think that's what they're saying. Aren't they saying like these stablecoin issuers now become like the new buyers of government debt? Like,
well, yeah, but when you're buying treasuries and you're a stablecoin issuer, you're going to print new dollars to issue more stablecoins to inflate the value of Bitcoin, to offset the debt.
So who's doing the inflating of Bitcoin? You saying the issuer, or just the demand for stablecoin will come from people needing to buy Bitcoin?
Well, it'll come from that. It'll come from the United States. When they print new dollars, a lot of it is going to be inflating.
Going to Bitcoin,
yeah.
As like a... Is that the result of people like understanding this scheme? Like...
Yeah, I mean,
once people realize this is like, I guess like the Russian government is starting to realize it.
Yeah, because like right now you could inflate the housing market, and that's been happening for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of inflating the housing market, you inflate some other asset that continuously goes up,
but
so that you can devalue the debt.
Right.
That's why you want to print more dollars so that the $35 trillion debt is actually cheaper to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're going to introduce new dollars, you don't want to introduce new dollars in the market, like in the housing market, because now houses get too expensive, and then people just can't buy houses.
I see.
And so now they're directing that energy into Bitcoin so that they offset their balance of debt.
So what do you do if you're Russia or any other country who's like in alignment to, okay, this is what they're up to? How do you counter that? Counter that?
Yeah, so this is a strategy that, countries, they can take to really, offset their debt, right? And so that's a strategy the United States is taking. The only option Russia has is to buy some Bitcoin, the underlying asset.
It's like front run it?
Yeah, I mean, just hold some of it so that if the United States is backing their dollar with gold plus their military, backing their dollar with Bitcoin plus their military, why not have Russia also back their currency by Bitcoin? Because now you have people, you have countries leveraging this underlying asset, and if you don't hold any, you're always going to be bending the knee.
So my whole thesis of treasury companies are government proxy accumulators.
It's possible, yeah.
It's starting to come to fruition.
Yeah, it's in play.
It's in progress.
Yeah.
Sheesh. So yeah, I mean, yeah, even though right now it feels like, I don't know, pretty desparish from like an on-chain perspective, there's a lot of macro signs here, like painting a picture of like, I don't know, like unforeseeable bullish catalysts, I guess you could say. I mean, even though this feels weird, like I think it's being narrated as if like, the United States is leveraging crypto to some sort of like, I don't know,
for financial gain,
some corruption angle, or just like, financial manipulation tactics that, again, to the detriment of the rest of the world. From a crypto perspective, this is pretty huge, right? From everybody's bags perspective.
Yeah, let's assume that this is the game plan for the United States and you're Russia. What is your option?
Or anybody else. Like, again, if you have knowledge of this is what's happening, what are you to do with this knowledge?
Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, that's the only option.
Or what else do you do?
Yeah, I remember back in the 2020 days, we were talking about this, and I told you that there was no other option for the United States but to buy Bitcoin. Yep. No option.
Correct.
And I think, they see that now, and I think other countries are starting to see that.
Yeah, it looks like it. It's starting to seem, and again, because the United States is so aggressive in their exploits here.
Exactly.
It's going to really ping the awareness of everybody else. And it's a situation of either play ball or...
Yeah, and all these countries are going to pitch that as like some big bad wolf, the United States trying to manipulate Bitcoin for their own personal gain. But really, it is the right move for the United States to do, and it's the right move for all the other countries to do as well, because you can't stop it. If you can't stop it, then you have to somehow... The only way to game it is to do what Michael Saylor is doing and hold a ton of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Oof. Yeah, man. Pretty interesting times. It's pretty wild to see these things actually happening in real time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be surprising. I think this is what was supposed to be happening.
I don't know. Some will be surprised.
Yeah. All right, so let's continue on here. But... Despite the United States acquiring so much Bitcoin, treasury companies acquiring Bitcoin, Russia realizing, oh, this is the game we're playing? Okay. Retail doesn't really care.
No.
Google search interests on crypto and Bitcoin are at new lows since 2024.
Yep, and I think that's why it feels so super lame. So, you showed me some interesting charts when it comes to the gold to Bitcoin ratio and how that hasn't like really...
Let me pull that up here.
Yeah, because it hasn't really broken out from like its previous all-time high. I mean, maybe that's attributing to this collective feeling of, things haven't really accelerated or hit escape velocity. But with this narrative that, we're seeing unfold before our eyes, I can imagine a possible near future where that happens, right?
Yeah, so
similar to what we saw back there. Like, look at that. That's escape velocity.
Yeah, correct. So here is 2017 all-time high, 20 grand. So that's about 15 ounces of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we reach that, let's say 3 years later, it sort of broke all-time highs there and found new all-time highs. And then it sort of crashed, FTX, all that stuff. And now we're back to previous all-time highs. So you think, $120,000 Bitcoin, we've broken all-time highs,
Mm-hmm.
but we really haven't.
Right.
In hard asset value terms.
Yeah, which is why the market feels the way it does, right?
Yeah. And not only that, we've spent about a year and a half around all-time highs.
Right. Yeah.
Which has never happened before. Because, for example, we spent about 3 weeks, tussling with the all-time high of basically $20,000 or 10, let's say 12 to 13 ounces of gold. But 3 weeks, and then it exploded.
Mm-hmm.
We've spent about a year and a half just kind of oscillating.
Yeah. Yeah, within that year and a half, you've had memes essentially, like the main center point of conversation. So similar to like DeFi was that last cycle prior to like the big explosion. So the name of the game now is, you got to wait around long enough for Bitcoin to actually hit escape velocity, which will trigger a lot of consensus awareness around, I should reinvest my interest into figuring out what else is going on in crypto, right?
Yeah.
Then you'll see those search trends probably start to inverse again.
Mm-hmm.
But then really the game is about finding, okay, so what are those vectors of opportunity in the market, right? Just like last cycle, it was NFTs, it was GameFi, it was the metaverse, all these different verticals that had their 1000x explosive growth.
Yeah, I think this cycle could be internet capital markets, right? This resurgence of retail interest.
Could be, and that bleeds into the discovery of different market verticals, right?
Yeah.
Like another AI explosion.
Yep.
Let's bring in more of the vibe coding capabilities into these tokenized markets. Then you got the creator capital market angle. Streamers, people on Zora. You look at the platforms in today's existing state, and you're like, "There's no way this is going to be like the killer stuff."
Yeah, but we were around when OpenSea looked like trash.
Yeah, OpenSea looked like trash. Decentraland looked like trash. Axie Infinity looked like trash. Everything looked like trash. Like, dude,
there's no way anybody's going to touch this stuff.
And all those things 1000x.
That's right.
Basically. So it could happen again. So don't just look at things and fade them, right? Like there's no way like Zora isn't going to have billions in volume. There's no way these pump streamers one day will eclipse Twitch and Kick.
Yeah.
It can happen. We've seen it happen, right? And all it takes is a couple of catalysts and we're off to the races.
Yeah, and that's really the takeaway for today's video is that all you need is that one catalyst. You need that one Twitch streamer who gets banned because nip slip. And then all of a sudden they're dominating on Pump Fun and bringing a whole new generation of people trading these coins.
Correct. Yeah. So we've seen it happen before. Will we see it happen again? We won't know until, first of all, Bitcoin has to do its thing here, right? Where it hits this new leg of escape velocity.
Yep.
Leaves gold in the dust for a little bit.
Yep.
That's typical. That's a signal, right? So we're still waiting for that. It's coming a little later than expected, but
it's way later, dude.
Yeah, and if we're still here 12 months from now and that chart is still hovering or on its way down, then I think it's time to sunset this channel.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That might be the signal, right? But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for us. I appreciate you for watching. And if you find anything interesting in the crypto space, let us know down below. And again, thank you so much. We'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.